Imagine owning 90% of a global market. You have the money, you have the brand, and you have the best scientists on the planet working for you. It seems impossible to fail, right? Well, this is the story of Kodak, the company that invented the future, and then decided to hide it in a drawer to protect today's profits. It was a billion-dollar mistake that changed the history of technology forever. In the 1970s, the name Kodak was synonymous with photography. If you wanted to save a memory, you had to buy a yellow Kodak film roll. They were so powerful that the slogan Kodak moment was part of global culture. But in 1975, a young Kodak engineer named Steve Sasson created something bizarre. It was a heavy metal box, full of cables, that could capture an image and turn it into digital data. He had just invented the world's first digital camera. Proudly, Steve took his invention to the big bosses at Kodak. He thought he was going to be promoted, that they would celebrate the revolution. But the reaction from the executives was cold and terrifying. They looked at that digital camera and said, "That's cute, but don't tell anyone." Why? Because Kodak didn't make money from cameras. They made money from paper, from chemicals, and from the film rolls. The digital camera was a direct threat to the company's bread and butter. If people could see photos on a screen, they would stop printing. And if they stopped printing, the Kodak empire would crumble. Instead of leading the revolution, Kodak decided to ignore it. They buried the patent for the digital camera and continued to focus on paper. They thought digital photography was just a toy for computer geeks, and that people would want film rolls forever. For 20 years, Kodak lived in a dangerous state of denial, while brands like Sony and Canon began to quietly invest in digital. Kodak spent millions on advertising to convince the world that paper was the only possible future. But the future doesn't ask for permission to arrive. In the early 2000s, the dam broke. Digital cameras became cheap, fast, and high quality. Suddenly, no one wanted to wait days to develop a film. No one wanted to pay for photos that turned out blurry. Kodak panicked. They tried to change direction at the last minute. But the ship was too heavy and the ice had already ripped a massive hole in the hull. In 2012, the giant that once ruled the world declared bankruptcy. The lesson from Kodak is the hardest in the business world. If you don't cannibalize your own product, someone else will do it for you. They had the future in their hands and decided to suffocate it. They had the chance to be the Apple of photography, but they chose to be the museum of themselves. Today, photography is everywhere. In our phones, on social media, in trillions of pixels. But the name Kodak is just a shadow of a past that refused to evolve. And you? Do you still have an old photo album stored at home? Or are you part of the generation that only knows digital? Subscribe to Global Titans now so you don't miss the next secret. Because what we are going to reveal about the next company will explain how they managed to know what you're going to buy before you even know it yourself. Are you ready to enter the system?